Alright, before we start the video, just a quick warning. I have read practically the entire series of Magical Girl Racing Project. I'm wrapping up the final 2 volumes, so I am not blind to this. When I discuss this upcoming trailer and anything regarding the series moving forward, if you're anime only, there are spoilers here. So turn away now, that's your warning, and yeah, enjoy. Okay, alright, so Magical Girl Racing Project Restart, the anime. It's been known since January 2023 that this was going to happen, and it's been known since December 2024. A few of the staff, as well as all of the character voices. I was going to wait until I finished up the main light novels to cover the anime information. Admittedly, I have been slacking. I have a little bit left of Volume 17, and then Red is the last one, which I haven't read. Read the color, haven't read the book. However, as I was about to pass out last night, I see that they've released a teaser trailer, and I'm certainly not going to wait to react to it, and I'm sure it's not much, but this is probably the perfect opportunity for, one, me to just cover everything about the anime so far, and two, motivate myself to hurry up and finish the darn series. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to react to this and then go over some of the information. I'll give my thoughts, and let's just proceed from there. So let's see what we got. I can't read Japanese, unfortunately. Restart's going to appear. I'm going to assume those brackets will restart. Are those Petchka's feathers? I see. I hear the piano. Oh, it is Petchka. Why is this so emotional? Yo, is the soundtrack? That's a different studio than last time. Okay, Balloon. Petchka. My Girl Piffle, Shadow Girl, Magical Daisy. Okay, there's Keek. I didn't catch the red hair one. That might have been at Meow Meow. Okay. 2026. Okay. 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 So, I need to break that down a little bit. Let me view the one small piece of animation we got. Okay. Oh my gosh, Petchka's tail is so bushy. I know she's like a chicken, but it's just crazy. It's got a shine to it. That's crazy. Was Petchka? I mean, she is a magical girl. I know she would do something like that. I can't tell if that's at the beginning when she's all obsessed over that boy or not, but Piffle, the best character in the series, mind you, looks great. So it looks like she's holding a magical phone, so she might be viewing her magical candies. Shadow Girl is building something. Okay. Very cool. And then this might be in the wasteland. Magical Daisy might be talking with like Noko or something. It's really hard to tell. Is this at Meow Meow? Was there anyone else? This looks like red hair. Maybe. It's hard to tell. And then Keek with Fall. So this is how they're gonna do her. Interesting. It's brighter than I expected. When I imagine Keek's environment, I imagine the darkest, deepest abyss of a room. But who knows? The soundtrack last time was really good. I hope the composer remains the same. Alright, we're gonna cut over to more details. So let's do that. Alright, so here, Crunchyroll has already an article. So Minori Chihara sings the opening theme No Tears Here. which this is her. We do have a comment. Oh, she was from Haruhi Suzumiya. Okay. I know she did Paradise Lost. I forget which anime that's from, but it's an opening for an anime. Paradise Lost is a good song. So, and she does a lot of like slice of life. I think she did Haruhi songs too, actually. But yeah, let's read the comment. Once again, congratulations on the TV anime adaptation of Magical Girl Racing Project Restart. In the reading play of Maho Iku, I played the role of Demon King Pam. Oh, you're Archfiend Pam? Yo, if we ever get limited, you're going to be Archfiend Pam? That's awesome. And now I have been given the opportunity to perform the opening theme song again. The title is No Tears Here. Lyrics were written by Akihata-san. Music and arrangement were handled by QMHZ-san. We created this song by superimposing my current self onto the fighting of non-fighting magical girls. The song is already completed, but its release is still a little ways off. I hope you'll enjoy it along with the anime broadcast. I'll look forward to the moment along with all of you. Okay. Okay, so the director is returning, as is the writer. Okay. Of the SD character designs is the lead character designer. Oh, perfect. Sound director also returns. Very cool. And it's a different studio for the production itself. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. I liked that a lot of the big leaders from the original one were kept in place. I do, if I do recall correctly, the anime for Unmarked did explore a lot of the side stories that were out at that time for the unmarked characters, and I think it would really benefit Restart to explore those side stories, especially like Akane and at Meow Meow, their stories. They really enhance those characters a bunch. And actually, I also think Blue Comet and Lapis Lazuli deserves that story with but it has to be at the end. It has to be at the end. I'm forgetting that one human character's name, but she was friends with a human character who knew she was a magical girl, and then old Blue, Lapis Lazuli III erased her memories. I probably should have, I'll put a spoiler warning at the beginning of the video. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope they still value the side stories here, because these characters deserve their time to shine, each and every one of them. Which makes me wonder if it's going to be one core, which, you could technically squeeze both volumes of Restart into 13 episodes, but I wouldn't really prefer that at all. I would prefer a full 24 episodes, really, for especially this arc, if no other arc, this arc. So, yeah, no tears here. That isn't interesting. Now, it's going to be somewhat intense like Paradise Lost, or is it going to be more upbeat like Sakabe? Was that the name of the first opening from Unmarked? Because no tears here could be, intense, I can't cry, I need to push forward, grr, but it could also be, I'm not going to let you cry and I'll protect you. Or it could be a mix of both. With Magical Girl Racing Project, you kind of get both sides of the coin there. I also have this, which I did view this a while ago on my own time, but these are the voice actors. So, I'm not familiar with character voices, but I do recognize a few. So, Yoshino Nanjo for Piffle. I unfortunately do not have that reference in my brain. Neither do I have it for Shadow Gale. But Masked Wonder as Fairu's Eye, Power in Chainsaw Man. I also think she did Yumilia in Level 99 Villainous, or whatever that one was called. She has quite a range. The Power is going to be definitely more like Masked Wonder voice-wise. I think that kind of energetic, upbeat voice is really good for Masked Wonder. But also, if we ever get the side story with, Wonder Dream with Nemarine and Masked Wonder, I think that kind of subdued voice would be really good for Masked Wonder's human form, who's strangely practical, So I think that's a wonderful uh, casting right there. Pachika, voiced by Honoka Inoue. I have not watched His Time for Torture Princess yet, so I don't have a reference. But I'm gonna imagine it's gonna be slightly nervous. Um, almost like unmarked Snow White. I think just a little bit more brash. To herself, rather. Like she knows she's not the best person. I think, or rather, she's been made to believe that. She's going after that one guy that she likes, but then she eventually becomes strong enough to do what she does at the end of the story. So that's pretty neat. Nonoko Miyokata, voiced by Genya. Again, I don't have the reference there, but I do think that Nonoko, right? She likes throwing out, was there French terms randomly, even though she wasn't French at all. Um, I do think she'd be one of those characters with that kind of like purposely directed to be odd in how their voice sounds. I don't know if that makes sense, but I kind of just imagine that voice for Nonoko. So it's going to be interesting to hear how she sounds. Rionetta, voiced by Mao Mao. Shion in Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. That's pretty good. Um, I'm wondering how they'll do her whole confrontation with Nonoko voice acting wise. I'm looking forward to that. Clientele, voiced by Maria Issei, Cure Lemonade. I need to watch Precure. It's on my list. I have a lot of Magical Girl stuff to watch, but if a Magical Girl voice actress is voicing a Magical Girl, then that's great. Now, Clientele is definitely a girl of few words, right? But the thing that's going to make this voice actress for me is how she screams Melville's name during that battle. That's like the breaking point for Clientele, right? Where she just shows that raw burst of emotion. So I'm really looking forward to how they handle that and that entire fight in general. I think that entire fight might be my favorite in all of Restart. So now it's a soul crushing fight, mind you, but yeah. Magical Daisy, voiced by Maya Uchida. Katarina, okay, alright. You know what? I vibe with that. Yeah. Because, Magical Daisy's kind of washed. She's went too focused on her magical girl life, and so Katarina as Magical Daisy, that I wouldn't have imagined that, but I kind of like that casting choice. It's gonna be interesting to hear that voice portray, the usual magical girl. I'll show off and do this and that, but also the washed, broke middle-aged individual. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so Noko is Noko-chan in this translation. Interesting. Hime Sawada, Cecilia in Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. Again, I don't really know. I imagine Noko as someone soft-spoken, but firm in their voice. So, I mean, if you consider her role in the story, especially towards the end, there's a lot of emotion that can be put into what happens. So I'm counting on you, Hime Sawada, to make me cry because, let's see, at Nyan Nyan. Okay, so that's interesting. The official English translation, the light novels that I've been reading, I know they do it at meow dash meow at meow meow, but it's at Nyan Nyan, which same thing. It's just gonna get. I'm probably gonna call her at meow meow because that's just what I'm used to. It's gonna be hard to change, but voiced by Akari Kito. Nezuko. Okay, interesting. That's a fun choice. Yeah, at meow meow has some pretty rough stuff too, so I'm wondering how they'll portray that. Good choice though. Good choice. Nezuko. Very cool. All right, Gino Saiko Yumeno Shima, voiced by Sayumi Suzushiro. Nichika in Bocchi to the Rock. That's perfect. That is actually just perfect because that kind of chipper, just super bright voice suits Gino Saiko so well. And even when she's Kara in her human form, as the is it a manga artist or manga writer? you can feel that enthusiasm. So I think that's really awesome. Okay, Nishika, Juno, Psycho. I gotta like have a picture of them high fiving or something because I think those two characters would actually be friends. Um, Now they have somewhat different interests, but they both nerd out over their interests, so I think it'll work out. Akane voiced by Ami Koshimizu, Kalin, and Code Geass. Heck yes, dude. Akane is filled with bitterness. Now, is she gonna be repeating the one line, "Are you the musician?" the whole time, and then like with a manic laugh before she gets pancaked? Who knows? Maybe they'll do her side story. I sure hope they do. But I think that is like near perfect casting because Colin is full of bitterness in her own story, and Akane was broken by her experiences and definitely holds that bitterness, but can't even express it in a way that's healthy or perfect for her. So that's awesome. Okay, Melville, voiced by Shiori Mikami, Oka Nakadi, and Tonikawa. Now I have watched Tonikawa. I think I just mispronounced that. Tonikawa. However, I don't remember who Okanakadi is. So, oops. But the thing with Melville that we definitely need is the accent. How are they going to do that? Like in an English dub, it's easier, right? You can just get someone who can do a Scottish impression and then bam. But how are they gonna portray that in voice work? Maybe if I was a native Japanese speaker, whatever they might do would be more, how do I say, obvious. But as someone who's going to read subs, and I'll eventually watch the English dub if it does come out, mind you, just to experience everything about this series, I do have to wonder how they're going to do that. Interesting. Cherna Mouse, voiced by Maria Naginawa. Cure Wonderful, another Precure. Cherna Mouse has, I imagine, having a particularly, how do I say, not high pitched. Would it be morally correct to say squeaky since she's a hamster? Um, I don't know, but I kind of imagined her with a childish voice, right? She was kind of portrayed like that too. Um, it'd be really funny to see if they do the whole side story with her and Petchka's brother, the Tomaki Cherna Christmas, whatever. But yeah, it'll be interesting. D-Tech Bell, voiced by Miu Tomita Riko in Made in Abyss. I am scared to touch Made in Abyss, so I don't know who Riko is, but D-Tech Bell is a really important character to me. I think the way she, to put it lightly, completed her character arc was really meaningful. So she was also just kind of like a real one in her pioneering the whole investigation. So we'll see. We'll see. Lapis Lazuli, voiced by Aoi Yuki. Okay, is that not perfect? Is that not perfect? Doesn't Aoi mean owl, right, is blue? But besides the name, Suyu in My Hero Academia, perfect. But she did what? Kumako from Soma Spider So What, and Tanya from Saga of Tanya the Evil. Aoi Yuki is personally one of my favorite voice actresses. The fact that she's voicing Lapis Lazuli is 11 out of 10 casting, probably the best casting here. Because Lapis Lazuli is that type of character who's always got a positive chipper mindset, but holds such power behind her that you have to respect her, right? I imagine more of a Kumako voice for Lapis more than a Suyu or a Tanya voice personally. But what I really like is that the fact that Aoi Yuki is here, the fact that there was someone else, right? One of these other people I think have sang in a few anime openings or endings. Point is, Aoi Yuki gives me the biggest hope for a second CD of Musica Magica, which I've mentioned it a few times in my other Magical Girl Racing Project videos. But there's a CD that was released with the first anime of the season where all the characters pair up or triple up and sing songs relating to their stories and the story of the arc itself. I need that with every fiber of my being for a restart. You have no idea. I need Magical Daisy's official Magical Girl theme song, which I think is called Daisy Carnival. It's mentioned multiple times in the series. And I definitely need Lapis Lazuli to sing with D-Tech Bell. For sure. Okay. Keek voiced by Megumi Han. Kana Anima. Okay, from Oshi no Ko. That's an interesting choice. Huh. Interesting. I wonder how they're going to do that. I'm sure Miss Megumi Han has a fair range, so I'm going to look forward to how she portrays Keek. Maybe it will improve my opinion of Keek, which right now I think she's like C on the tier list, so oops. And then Snow White reprising role, Nao Toyama, which she did a wonderful job last time. I'm curious how she's going to do her more subdued, broken self. It's going to be really interesting to see Snow White reprising that role. It also confirms we are going to get the Keek and Snow White scenes. I'm hoping we're going to get Flame Flamey, that opening scene with Flame Flamey. I also hope that we're maybe going to get... This is a stretch, right? Like, am I allowed to hope for Snow White Raising Project? I actually just read that in Volume 17. It was actually originally released way earlier than Volume 17, but it was only translated then. But Snow White Raising Project is kind of imperative to the greater story of the series. I do think where it was placed volume-wise in Volume 17 right before the end was actually strategically correct. I actually prefer reading it right before the end because it leaves a certain character's mindset about a whole situation in the dark for just the right amount of time. But for an anime viewer, which, in an anime, you're going to lose a lot of details. It was definitely present in the first season. I expect it to be present here. It may be better for the general viewer to have things in a chronological order. So I think Snow White Raising Project needs to come into play either as an OVA after this, or a whole episode in this, or some sort of special, something. That is the hope. But I'm getting off track. From the voice actresses I do recognize, wonderful choices. From the ones I don't, I'm sure they're going to do wonderful. This is really, really exciting. I did try to see if anything about the website had anything else, but it's just more the same, of what they were saying in all sorts of places. It's hard to talk about what I want more from the series when we only have is that little animation preview, but I am beyond excited, and next year needs to come immediately. With this as the fire to, or rather the fan to the flames, I'll use the fire from that fanning to hurry up and finish the series, get those last few videos out, and then impatiently wait for this to release, because this arc definitely in particular struck a chord with me, and I want to see if the anime threatens to make me emotionally break, just like the book. And if it does, then I think they did their job well, don't you think?